Everything going?
I've had about a couple of days, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Apart from that, though, things have been going quite well.
I feel like every day it's cleaning up someone else's mess, to be honest. The DOJ specifically, or the PD. Yeah.
I hear that. It's
so
a little close to home.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said that hits a little bit close to home. Always need to clean up other people's messes.
Yeah. For a lot of things, I feel like most of it is, instead of there being conversation before action is taken, and then there's an expectation that, you know, you have to go chase him down and force him to correct, you know. But before the tsunami, we were talking about the situation about like serial assaults and killings, and
It amazes me, to be honest, mate. It really does, because the situations they're trying to use it on. I never had anything on my person except for my fist. I didn't have any kind of weapons on me. The only time I had a weapon on me was during the jewelry store job, and even then it was never used, and it was seized then when I was arrested.
How did they do you mind speaking up just a little bit?
Not bad.
Oh, that's perfect. So how were you approached in regards to the serial assault and killing?
So I found out because I've got a very good friend in the DOC who was privy to a meeting with, what's the cunt's name? The cunt? What's his name?
Which one, the cunt or the one that told you?
Frodo.
Frodo.
The one from
between Frodo, my friend DOC guard, and Seamus. And during that meeting, it was discussed that they were going to try and hit me with that, because apparently I've had 3 instances where I have I've done something.
What?
Yeah. Keep in mind, I've never had any interaction with Aubrey or Seamus, except for those instances. And again, I never touched Seamus. Yeah, I beat the shit out of Aubrey, but that's because she stabbed my friend. She stabbed my club member. So all things considered, I could have done much worse.
So, to make sure I understand this correctly, one of your DOC friends overheard a conversation.
Was part of a meeting.
Sorry, say again?
Was part of a meeting with those 2.
Oh, you were a part of it.
No, the DOC guy that informed me,
yeah,
that I'm friends with, was part of a 3-way meeting with him, Frodo, and Seamus.
That is interesting. And then he informed you that, hey,
he then informed me.
I got you. So I want to start by saying that I don't think in any reality you're ever going to see that hit the docket. Well, okay. It could, in theory, hit the docket. I don't see it advancing. I don't see it not getting dismissed. Serial assaults and killings has historically been reserved for serial killers, right? So somebody that has the intent to go around either targeting a vast number of individuals or specific individuals with the intent to murder them. And so without that being a part of the, without that existing, they can't push that charge. Now, I will say that there's always that possibility that a judge says, you know what, fuck, I want to go bring it to court, but that's not good for anybody, right? That does mean that you end up stuck in jail until you get your bail and go through the, you know, the full 9 yards.
Yeah.
But we were discussing earlier that it's gonna, the shitty thing about this is, well, has this threat been made to you directly from
Not
Frodo?
directly. Frodo just said, he's never met me before. He's never said anything of the like. When I brought up the meeting with DOC at the
Wait.
prison, he said it didn't happen. But then when it was also questioned if anyone else is doing that, he said he cannot comment at this time what PD is currently investigating into. And let's be honest, it would be much easier just to say, no, nothing like that, I don't know if you've heard it, you're crazy. But to then add that, kinda, you know what I mean? Lets me know there is something.
The thing is, though, here's where I think...
Oh, Tempest, you need a mumble pill, by the way, because I can't hear you, but I can hear everyone else. There you go.
Is that better?
Yep.
Good.
So...
Is that better?
Yep.
Yep, there you go. Oh my good lord.
Okay.
Sorry.
I guess, like, my question would become, how do we know this is real? I feel like that. I don't think there's any... I don't think anything's going to happen, based on what I'm hearing. This might have... if I were to guess, it almost sounds like Frodo might have been trying to act like the big, tough policeman in front of other DOC. You know? Like he was going to do something.
Which is why he cowered it out and didn't admit it when we confronted him.
Exactly.
And that's all fine and dandy, but still, threatening someone's life in general, especially as a peace officer.
The problem is that unless he does it directly to you, there's not much you can do, right?
I mean, realistically, even his investigation would get thrown out in a court of law anyway. Because
I think it is a
you
troll.
don't have the charges
Yeah, now that we
sufficient
got
enough
it.
to warrant even having an investigation on you.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no cause for an investigation against you. You don't have the violent background or the violent history to prove anything or suggest anything.
That's...
Technically,
well,
I'm the more violent one.
No, but even then, you haven't killed anybody, and robbery of a high security institution is it's an umbrella charge. Just because you get charged with it doesn't necessarily mean you are the one that took the hostage, you are the one that did the violent action. And unless they put that in a report or they have photos of you doing it, there's nothing to prove otherwise.
It is weird that what happened in prison wasn't put in a report.
Of course they won't,
While I
because
see what
then
you're
he'll...
saying about it, knowing it's actually something that is currently happening, regardless if it is or isn't, I would much rather prepare for the mentality and get ahead of it if it is than do nothing and then it turns out to be something and then I'm caught behind.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, right now, it's hearsay. While you might be able to, like, try to FOIA reports to make some sense of it, this could just be one big elaborate troll. Not saying it's right, but the problem is that you're hearing from a third party that this happened. Even if that third party is reliable, that threat is not being made directly to you. If it was made directly to you, you can then file, like, civil action, right? Harassment or otherwise. The second thing I do want to point out, though, is that technically law enforcement can investigate over anything. Does it make it right? Not necessarily. It's a waste of resources. But unless they do something like stalk you without cause, there's not really much you can do. And the worst thing about it is if they do that, proving that they're doing it becomes another issue.
I mean, the circumstances under which that hostage you guys took, allegedly, ended up in the same prison,
It's
you
not
could
alleged.
probably you could articulate it as stalking. Listen, I say allegedly because I'm trained to not incriminate people. That is my job. Whether I know it's alleged or not, I know not to say it.
Yeah.
But what she did could be articulated as stalking.
Yep.
Because I'm sorry, but if you're the victim of kidnapping and then you go and commit a crime,
Mm.
and then you go running to poor old hubby, you're kind of a weirdo.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, not wrong. But like I
You
said,
know,
the main issue here though is you guys are gonna need something that kind of like legitimizes the allegations, right? Because without any sort of like concrete proof, I don't see a judge taking it seriously.
and if there was concrete proof, one, they probably would have already pushed a warrant if they thought
Yeah.
you were a serial killer. Let's be 100% honest.
Mm.
And two, you would have the charges to back up the mentality and the legal background of a serial killer, which you do not. You don't even
Yeah.
have an assault charge.
Yeah. I would say that right now I would not be overly concerned, at least at the moment. However, I would begin to monitor any of your interactions with these individuals, and I would keep a log, date and time of when those interactions take place. And
They have
there
30
is
days for an investigation, right?
there is. Well, yes. Yeah, that is correct.
So, considering it's now been like since I spoke to you, probably going on 2-3 days, they now have another 27 to actually find some evidence on you. Otherwise, this whole thing is void anyway.
Exactly. And it's not just 27, right? They need the multiple alleged assaults in that 30-day window, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
And so far, you have a whopping total of 0. Which is honestly, even if I was looking at this from the other side, like the flip side of the coin, I'd probably turn around to my cadet or whoever if I was like a cop, and I'd be like, "What?
yeah.
This is basically like." This is essentially like not to.
I
you know,
think it's
quote,
trolling
unquote,
too.
kind of put you in a box of being a criminal, but this is essentially like the criminal version of if someone was like, Blake did this, and then I get impeached even though I didn't do it and there's no evidence.
I don't even know if he's necessarily even. How do you know he's not trolling? Because it almost sounds like one big, like, it sounds made up, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
I can probably hazard a guess at what I think is happening if there is no report that exists.
I have strong and good faith that what was brought to me was no.
well, I
For
mean,
multiple different reasons.
I got you. Okay, but
I
so
believe a snitch will go through any lengths to get what they want.
do you think someone is like alleging that you've been doing something to them over and over again?
I wouldn't be too far-fetched.
I
completely
see.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because right, if we put it into perspective, right, the 3 incidents that only could have been said, right?
One sec. Let me just let him know you're good.
There's someone watching you.
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean,
when you pulled
he's
the
a
gun,
madman.
he had a gun pointed at you. He wasn't sure.
Wait, you have a
Just look.
fucking... Oh, you got a marshal up there?
Oh, I got people.
Batman. That's Batman. Hi,
Pocket
Batman.
security.
Yeah.
Hello.
They're good. That was a good test for him. As soon as you pulled it, I look over to the left-hand side and he was ready. All right.
Most of
We've had incidents over here before, so you know.
I see. The three instances, right, would be Seamus being shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a DLC. You know, to him to go and report that, it is what it is.
Hmm.
The other two could only be the me beating Aubrey's ass and me taking Aubrey hostage.
Not an assault. Not killing.
No, but if that's what they were trying to push, realistically, unless they did go and make a bunch of shit up, that was the only things that would have any sense of truth to them.
Yep, and even if they did, that would get dropped down to a simple charge of assault and battery and attempted on a government employee. Not that DOC honestly even deserved that right with how some of them act anyway.
That's not
Yeah.
the point. The point is what they could be trying to do, not whether it would work or not.
But even then, like, what I'm still, I believe that whoever told you about this conversation, that they heard what they did. But who's to say that Frodo wasn't just saying these things to make himself look good in front of the DOC? Like, that there was any merit to what he was saying, especially if you've never met him before. Like, I feel like I have no idea.
That could be the reality. It could be. It could very easily be the reality.
It
And this
could
is all
be
beyond proportion, right?
because he pulled a stunt with me
I sort of
a
lost
while
what
back for the traffic
I don't
stop
actually
where
know
he
anymore.
tried to hit
'Cause it
me
sounds
with
like this is a
felony
nothing
charge
burger.
instead of second-degree speeding.
Yeah.
Which is why me and Frodo do not have a good relationship. Because the guy is a snake, he does not know how to articulate a charge, and he will push for a win, he won't push for an actual justice served.
Yeah.
He is incompetent and shouldn't be in the position he's in and shouldn't have the power that he does. He's unsafe for the public.
Here's I would, let's do this. I would say push for those FOIA requests. And I think starting there is probably best, because otherwise you know, without that it's hard to know where to begin. And the second thing being any interactions with these individuals, I would, you know, note the date, timestamp, in the event you need to pull their phone records, like in a civil case. Or in a worst case, criminal charges. But I do got to
Sounds
cut
good to
this
me.
short because I got a meeting that I got set up at 3 p.m. and I got about a minute. So
No worries, mate. As always,
Yeah.
I do appreciate your time.
absolutely.
Appreciate it, Nino.
And do keep me up to date. I'd like to, you know, if something comes out of this, it's tough when it comes to these situations because, like, you know, law enforcement have like the full breadth of everything at their disposal, and well, for the rest of us, we're left guessing.
Yeah.
Freedom of information, though, right?
That's what they try to call it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's similar to
Freedom of
freedom of
information.
speech.
Yeah.
So, Freedom of Information Act, honestly, I'm being 100% blunt from a lawyer perspective, is the biggest load of bogus and the most untrue thing I've ever read in legislation. Because there is no freedom of information in Los Santos unless you're a cop. Like, let's be real. If the freaking mayor can't get it, who the hell can?
Hey, you're not wrong. All right. I got to get to going. I appreciate you guys. Let me know if you need
All good,
anything.
Nino.
Yeah?
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Yeah, mate.